Warehouses run on one belief. If the paper says it's inside, it's inside. In the riverport city of Greyford, the biggest warehouse didn't just store grain and cloth. It stored trust. Merchants shipped goods in. Clerks wrote receipts. Guards checked seals. Carts rolled out only when the right document appeared. It worked so well that people stopped looking closely. That's when Leo noticed the weakness. Leo wasn't a noble or a merchant. He was a runner, moving papers between offices, docks, and counting houses. Invisible, ignored, which meant he could watch everything. He watched which signatures got waved through, which stamps made guards step aside, and which hours were so busy that speed mattered more than certainty. Then the perfect moment arrived. A flood ruined roads outside the city. Grain deliveries surged. The warehouse became a machine that couldn't slow down. The manager had one rule: no delays. So the rules softened without anyone announcing it. Clerks stopped double-checking every line. Guards started trusting the seal more than the handwriting. Supervisors waved carts through to keep the line moving. And Leo made his move. Not with a weapon, with a receipt. One morning, he arrived with a document that looked ordinary. Proper layout, proper seal, a merchant name that was real. The guard glanced once and let him pass. Inside, a clerk matched the merchant name to a ledger entry and nodded. Because the merchant did have goods stored there. So the workers loaded crates onto Leo's cart, and the cart rolled out the front gate like it belonged. That was the genius. Nothing felt stolen. It felt processed. Leo repeated it during the busiest hours. Always calm, never rushed, never nervous. A second receipt, a third, different carts, same confidence. By the end of the week, the warehouse had released a fortune in goods, legally, on paper. Then the city noticed. A merchant arrived to collect cloth that should have been waiting. Gone. A baker's guild demanded grain that was listed as available. Missing. The manager blamed the flood, blamed the port schedule, until the complaints stacked up. Because the ledger insisted the goods had left correctly, but the merchants swore they never received them. That's when the warehouse faced a terrifying problem. If the paper says it's gone, how do you prove it was stolen? The manager ordered an emergency audit. Receipts were gathered. Gate logs checked. Guards swore the seals were real. At first, everything looked clean. That was the problem. Real theft leaves a mess. This theft left paperwork. Then one clerk noticed a tiny flaw. A seal impression slightly soft at the edge, like it came from a worn stamp. Another receipt had a signature that looked right, but one letter leaned the wrong way. Small details. Easy to miss. Impossible to ignore once seen. The manager laid the week's receipts on one long table. Under better light, a pattern appeared. The same handwriting across different documents. The same spacing, the same steady confidence. The warehouse hadn't been robbed by force. It had been robbed by permission. The manager sent men to watch the docks. And there it was. Crates stamped with the warehouse mark, stacked in a small shed near the river, being sold quietly for cash. The city turned angry fast. Prices rose. Supplies tightened. People blamed merchants. Merchants blamed the warehouse. Trust collapsed in every direction. Leo was eventually caught, not by genius, but by the one thing repeating schemes forget. Attention returns. A guard started checking faces. A clerk stopped treating routine as truth. A supervisor stopped worshiping speed. And once the warehouse slowed down, the paper stopped being magic. That's the lesson. The receipts didn't win because they were perfect. They won because the warehouse wanted them to be. Because people were tired, busy, and afraid of slowing the machine. A whole warehouse was robbed without breaking a lock, just by being waved through.